We are doing cheese today. Cheese is a great thing to do when it comes to freeze drying because it often goes on sale. And when it does go on sale, my wife will buy a lot of cheese. And you don't have to worry about it. You can just throw the cheese in the freezer until you can get to it. And when you do get to it, cheese freeze dries really fast. It doesn't take very much time to do it. And cheese can be used for a lot of things, and it has lots of protein and a lot of value in your food storage. And it comes back really easy, and I'm going to show you how I rehydrate cheese, and it's a really simple way. So we have mozzarella, we got taco, we got Mexican, we got cheddar. We have all these different types of cheeses, and it doesn't matter what kind of cheese, they all freeze dry rather well. So we're going to go ahead and get ready. Now a lot of these cheeses are in 2-pound bags, and I will usually do between 2 and 2.5 pounds of cheese per tray. And you're probably rolling your eyes and saying that's a lot, but nope. You can go up to almost 3 pounds of cheese per tray. As high as you can get it on the tray, the better. So this is where you can stack it deep and freeze dry it cheap. So we're going to go ahead and load up the trays, and once the trays are loaded, we're going to go ahead and put them into the freezer and pre-freeze them. Cheese pretty much has all about the same type of moisture, but if you can do all the same type of cheese in the same run, you'll be ahead of yourself. So if you can do all mozzarella or all cheddar or all taco cheese or all cheddars, it's going to be that much easier. Looks like I got a lot of mozzarella and I got some taco, got a lot of sharp cheddar. So we're going to have to probably mix and match the cheeses here, but that's not a problem either. Hang on and enjoy the ride. The last cheese I have is sharp cheddar, and sharp cheddar is a staple in our inventory because sharp cheddar is how we make our macaroni and cheese. And macaroni and cheese is a major dish we have in our house. So this is 2 pounds and this is 3 pounds. We're going to get it all nice and even. Like I said, the limit on how much you can put on a tray is how much you have to the next shelf up above. Now Harvest Right is going through a program called +1, and that's where they're taking a 4-shelf freeze dryer like the medium and reconfiguring it and putting a an additional shelf to make it 5 shelves, which is allowing you to have more shelves but less space between each shelf, if that makes any sense. But I'm going to stick with my 4 shelf because I like it just how it is. Now when I pre-freeze all my food, I do it for at least 24 hours because as the food goes into the freezer and starts to freeze, the cold air of the freezer will actually start to sublimate the food, or in this case, sublimate the cheese. And the cold air going over the cheese will actually remove between 4 and 6% of the moisture in the food. Right now, I have a load in my freeze dryer. I have an extra set of trays. They're in the freezer. And so as one load comes out of the freeze dryer, I have a set ready to go into the freeze dryer. So 3 pounds of sharp cheddar cheese ready to go in. While one load of cheese is in the freezer pre-freezing for the freeze dryer, this load just came out of the freeze dryer. And what I often do, depending on how many varieties I'll have these little papers that I'll put on top of the trays that says cheddar jack, sharp cheddar, medium cheddar, and medium jack. That way I kind of know which one is which so I don't get confused. So we're going to go ahead and bag these up. The sharp cheddar, this one I'm going to put aside, and I'm going to show how to rehydrate that one. But these 3, I'm going to go ahead and bag up. Now, it's important, and it's just a good habit when bagging, to keep the trays clean, especially underneath the tray, and also to keep the cabinet or the table or wherever you're working nice and clean and very dry, because the way I kind of load my bags is a little bit unconventional, and you want to keep it this. You want to keep everything clean and dry so you don't accidentally introduce moisture into your bag. So okay, so this is the cheddar jack, and this is my cheddar jack bag. So we're going to take rid of that, and I'm going to take my bag, and I'm just going to put the tray inside the bag like so, and dump it in. That's how fast it is. That's why it's important to keep the tray top and bottom clean on your tray, clean in the freeze dryer, clean on the cabinet, so you don't introduce any foreign object, especially you don't introduce any moisture inside the bag there. So that is done. And then we have medium cheddar. Now we're going to do Monterey Jack is next. And then we have, no, sharp cheddar comes in next. So we're going to rehydrate medium cheddar. So the sharp cheddar goes in the bag. And then each of these will get an oxygen absorber. So one inside there, and one inside there, and one inside there. This is my medium cheddar, which is probably the best and most popular of the cheeses. I mean, you can make sandwiches, and we will make a sandwich. And I will show you the proper way of making a grilled cheese sandwich. Okay, we're going to rehydrate the medium cheddar. You can do it in hours, but really you need to do it overnight if you really want to get the best results. To start with, you need, I don't know if they call these a tea towel, but this is just a clean cotton kitchen towel. It's not a terry towel. You don't want to use a terry towel because you don't want all those little fingers in your way. This is a smooth cotton towel. And what we're going to do with this, we're going to submerge this in water and get it absolutely soaking wet. Okay, I mean, this is as wet as it can be. I mean, water is just coming off of it. Okay, so this is how we want to do it. Just absolutely as wet can be. So we're going to divide this up into thirds. So you just, there's a third here, a third here, and a third here. So we're going to get our 2 pounds of cheese. And we're going to take pound and go down the center. Is that about half? This is not science, so you just can guesstimate it. So you can put half of it down the center like so. And then we're going to fold this piece over on top of the cheese. And the rest is going to go down on that piece. I'm going to spread it around. Cheese takes a while to rehydrate. You can't rush it, and that's why it's an overnight venture. Okay, then we're going to take this piece and fold it over like that. Think of this as being like a big cheese burrito. And then we're going to take it and we're going to roll it up like a sleeping bag. Okay, just like that. So I got 2 pounds of cheese in this soaking wet towel. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a 1 gallon Ziploc bag, or any bag, just something to hold in the moisture. We're going to take this, moisture and all, we're going to put this in the Ziploc bag. get the air out, kind of burp the bag out like this. And this is going to go in the refrigerator overnight. Don't try to rush it, because if you do, you're going to get some crunchy pieces inside. But just stick this in the fridge until tomorrow, and then we're going to take a look at it then. I'm ready to pre-freeze my next load of cheese. So this is good old cottage cheese, which is easy to freeze and to rehydrate. Have a bunch of this in my food storage. This is good for making homemade lasagna if you don't want to use the original cheeses. And then right here we have 3 things of cream cheese. Now cream cheese is also a great thing to have. It comes in blocks, and prior to freeze drying you need to smash this down, probably to anywhere from 1/4 inch to probably no more than 1/2 an inch. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. You can leave it with a smooth top, which I often do, but some people will actually take like a serving fork and go ahead and put lines through it. And this can work also, because what this will do, it will help sublimate the cream cheese a bit by allowing the moisture to escape a little bit easier. So it's like having a bunch of lines in the cheese, so the cheese isn't quite so thick, if that makes sense. And then this right here, we're going to do a little bit of an experiment. So right here, I just have a piece of processed cheese, and this is like about 1/16 of an inch thick. And then I have some block cheese. Now, when it comes to regular cheeses, you really need to freeze dry cheese that is shredded. So we're going to show you what happens if you don't shred your cheese. So this is a piece of cheese that's about 1/8 inch, 3/16. Then I have a piece that's about 1/4 inch to 3/8. And then this piece is about 3/4 inch. And then this piece right here is about 1 1/4 inches. This piece is about as tall as you can get without hitting the top of the shelf in the freeze dryer. So we're going to freeze dry this and see how far the vacuum can penetrate to pull the moisture out. This will be a good demonstration of why you can't freeze dry blocks of cheese and why shredded cheese really works the best. And then this right here is a bunch of pepper jack cheese that we had left over from a family reunion. And I guess a lot of people just don't like pepper jack cheese. You know, it's a little bit on the warm side. It has little peppers and stuff in it, and I don't want it to go bad. And so this is just a whole bunch of individual slices, and you can see the peppers inside. This would be very difficult to try to save and to rehydrate, because it's just going to turn up being brittle. And basically I'm just going to crush this up into smaller pieces when it comes out of the freeze dryer. It's just not going to keep very well. So I have these 4 trays. I'm going to go ahead and pre-freeze them and then put them into the freeze dryer. Yesterday we did the first step in rehydrating freeze-dried cheese. So this is our kind of cheese burrito that I had in the refrigerator, and it's been, pretty much 24 hours. Now you can either do this over a countertop or a cookie sheet or something like that. So we're going to go ahead and take out our cheese, and if you can remember, this towel was dripping wet with water, and you'd be surprised how dry this now is, because a lot of the cheese absorbed all the moisture. So we're going to go ahead and unroll this, and we're going to virtually shake out the cheese that's been rehydrated. So just going to lift this up, just kind of give this some shaking, and kind of unfold this a little bit. And we're just going to be real careful, and we're just going to kind of open this up. And you can see all the cheese that's inside. And this is one of the reasons why we don't want to do this to a terry towel. So we're just going to kind of brush this off onto the pan. Okay, so you can kind of see I got most of the cheese off. There's a few places that the cheese is still sticking, and I can address that in just a moment. So let me just move this out of the way, kind of gather up the cheese that didn't make it onto the cookie sheet. And here we go. We have, this was 2 pounds of freeze-dried cheese, and now we have 2 pounds of cheese that is perfectly rehydrated. We've got a few places here, a few pieces that are kind of clumped together. This is pretty much the same moisture content as what we started with. So what we're going to do, and this is what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm going to teach you how to make a real toasted cheese sandwich the way it's supposed to be made. All right, now please no eye rolls from the audience because I'm using commercial white bread. I loved it. I wish I was using homemade bread, but I can't use homemade bread with regular wheat flour because my wife is gluten-free, and if I use a bread machine, it contaminates the bread machine and it's a hassle to clean out. So yes, I'm using commercial bread, so please forgive me. I am using butter though. All right, so of course we have to butter both sides. And we're going to get some of the cheese. With me so far? And now for the real way of making grilled cheese sandwiches, pepperoni. If you haven't tried pepperoni on a grilled cheese sandwich, you're missing something wonderful. You gotta try it. And a little bit more cheese just to hold everything together. And of course the top. Have you ever tried making grilled cheese with Miracle Whip instead of butter? We used to do that when we were growing up all the time, and it was pretty good. The only thing this is missing is milk and tomato soup. So anyway, we have a toasted cheese sandwich with pepperoni. It's my favorite. Now take a look at this. Nice, hot, stringy, gooey cheese. That is reconstituted cheese that was freeze-dried. Just like it was never freeze-dried at all. It's hot and stringy, just the way you love it. This is the best way to reconstitute cheese, and it tastes absolutely wonderful. If you haven't tried grilled cheese with pepperoni, you got to try it. And it's even better dipped in tomato soup on a cold day. It almost makes you want to go make a toasted cheese sandwich right now. So anyway, this almost concludes my video on cheeses. We still have to reconstitute our cottage cheese and our cream cheese and take a look at our block cheese. But this is the best way to reconstitute your shredded cheese by wrapping it up in a towel and stick it in your fridge overnight. So this is yesterday's load that's right out of the freeze dryer. I'm all ready to bag it up. Before I'm going to do it, I'm just going to run my fingers, clean hands, just through the cheese, just looking for any cold spots, because this right here is 3 pounds of, see, this is sharp cheddar cheese. No cold spots there. This is 3 pounds of Mexican blend. I'm just going to let my fingers look for anything that's cool. That's okay. And then I have my mozzarella. And this is only 2 pounds of mozzarella, but I also have 2 trays of mozzarella. So I have 4 pounds of mozzarella altogether. And everything is nice and dry. So this is ready to bag up. And once it's bagged, I'm going to go ahead and vacuum pack it.